When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois in the building, live again, hanging out with the people, being men of the people. We're men of the people.
Oh,
Is that right?
We hang with the plebs.
That's right. Is that how you say it? Is it plebs?
Plebes. Plebeian. So I guess maybe it is plebes. Oh, you're having a little packet loss there.
We're here. I don't know if my internet connection is doing okay. We're doing some problems.
You got a little hiccup.
Deals right now, but hopefully we're live.
Oh, I'm getting you. I'm getting you at least right
us.
now.
I'm going to make sure that the board works. Let's go.
Duh and or hello.
Is everything working? We
Yes.
good? No?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Slight delay, but that's okay. We're here. We're making it happen. All right, we're here on Wednesday night, the night that we could get together because things are happening. Life is upon us. There's no, there's MLS. It's continuing to roll through the first part of the season. We've got Americans playing abroad. That is a thing out there in the world. I'm not sure anybody is like starring at the moment or like burning it up right now in Europe.
Man,
there's
I think
sprinkling.
Adams might be the closest thing. But can a defensive midfielder really tear things up?
It's a good point. Chris Richards was doing okay, and then he got red carded and missed a game against Arsenal today.
It looks like Josh Sargent's going to finish in the championship, fourth highest goal scorer. He's got another game or two left. He's only one goal out of third. But
how about this? Brenden Aaronson got promoted. Whether or not he stays with them next year is a question, but Leeds got promoted. That's a big deal.
Assistant to the regional manager.
Assistant to the regional manager, Brenden Aaronson.
Is that good enough? Is that good enough to get him to the national team, though? It wasn't a month ago.
I don't think so. So I did a little bit on this today on Morning Kick Around. I don't know that what he's done so far is enough to get back in the national team. He's only, I say only, he has played 44 championship games for a team that is probably going to win that league and has already gained automatic promotion.
Yeah.
And I think he has 9 goals.
Pretty good.
Something like that. Maybe it's not 9. Maybe it's a lower number.
Striker, that's pretty good. I think that's a good season.
But he's only got 2 assists. He's only got 2. He places a 10.
But if you're chipping in 9 goals, you're doing the goal like contributions. That's 11 goal contributions. If it was 9 assists, 2 goals, would you have an issue?
Yeah, no. I mean, I guess
the guy scores too much. Sounds like me in college.
Well, okay, it's 44 games. If it was 30 games and he had 9 goals and 2 assists, okay, maybe. It's 3,400 minutes.
4 games in the championship, which is a slog.
I know it is.
Like elegant football being played there.
No, I get it. It's just one of those things. Like it feels like look, it's you're saying it's okay, but is it okay? Is it good enough to like get him back in the national team picture? Probably not. That's a different thing.
I think those numbers on another player is probably good enough. I think when it comes down to it, I don't think Pochettino sees how his profile fits in the team because he's playing well enough for the top team in the championship. It was enough to get Josh Sargent called in, right? So
but the problem is, I mean, okay, if you just want to accept that Brenden Aaronson is a very good championship player who probably won't sniff the national team picture because of a setup, because of a system, okay. But I mean, he's not going to be happy with that. If he wants to play for the national team, he's got to do better than 9 goals and 2 assists in 44 games in the championship because he's probably going to have to do it in the Premier League. And I don't think he looks good enough to be a Premier League player right now.
Come on. How many Leeds games are you watching? Don't be pretentious. You don't watch these games.
No, I'm saying
he doesn't look good enough. You don't watch.
Jared, the problem is there's nobody coming in for Brenden Aaronson off of the season he's had in the championship in the Premier. No Premier League team is like, you know what we need? A Brenden Aaronson.
I agree with that.
But that's that. I don't have to watch 44 games or any games of Leeds United to understand that the way he plays, which I've seen him play plenty, and the number of goals and assists he has for this team this season aren't going to win him a Premier League spot. So,
well, I think what will win him a Premier League spot is that the fact that the coach is unlikely to change at this point, and
no,
the coach
very much probably will change. Daniel Farke is probably getting fired.
Okay,
despite the fact he's taking him up.
You think that he's going to get fired if they finish first in the championship?
I talked to a Leeds United writer today who said all signs point to fired for Daniel Farke.
If he gets fired, I may agree with you. If he doesn't get fired, this is a guy that just trusted Brenden Aaronson for 44 games and is considered 9 goals. I mean, he's contributed. I think he has a role to play on this team next season. Whether or not how much they're going to go buy and spend with the money, with the Premiership money that they're going to come into the season with, and if they find someone better, that's fair. But I think he has a role to play.
The word out of Leeds is that they are actively shopping for a number 10. That is Brenden Aaronson's position in the system that Farke plays now.
Okay,
he is not
really think
going.
He's a 10.
That's where he plays.
He's a 10 because they didn't have a better option. He played when they were in the Premier League. He didn't play 10.
So you think they're going to go to the Premier League, buy a 10, and push Brenden Aaronson to the wing and let him play a bunch of games?
Well, it depends. Listen, but we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what players are leaving, what players are coming in. There is a chance that he is a minute contributor next season, potentially a starter for them.
No, I don't think there's any chance of that, to be honest with you. I think Brenden Aaronson very much fits the profile of a player that helps you get promoted and then you drop when you get to the Premier League. That's my perception of this. I could be wrong, right? But I'm basing it on history. I'm basing it on his performance in the Premier League previously.
So if you're Brenden Aaronson's agent, okay, he has done a reclamation project at Leeds since leaving for the one season in Germany on loan, was persona non grata when he left, came back, has done yeoman minutes, yeoman effort. He's again thought well of by the team. Is this the time where you sell and you move on? Sell high on Brenden Aaronson, move on. Thanks, buddy. We're going to get you to a place where you're going to get a lot of minutes, maybe someplace else, maybe Germany. I don't know where it's at. But if he's in the championship again next season, I think that's a fail for him.
I think so too. Again, my thought is that he probably will try to go up with them, and if they're not gonna push him out, then he probably will try to find a way to play in the Premier League, and that's probably the right move for him, right? I imagine he wants to be a Premier League player because who wouldn't want to be, and he knows that if he wants to play in the World Cup in 2026, that he probably has to be a Premier League player. So I'm not saying that he should quit on Leeds, or he should walk away, or he should look for a new destination. I'm just reading the tea leaves and suggesting that he might not play as much as you think he will. And some people are okay with that. Connor's okay with that. Coming off the bench in the Premier League, getting a few cup starts. But his minutes are going to drop dramatically. I mean, part of that's the number of games they play in the championship, but his minutes are going to drop dramatically. So is he okay with that as he tries to prove himself? And he should back himself. He should bet on himself. Again, now, in terms of selling high, they paid $25 million for him, I believe is the number from Salzburg.
I'm not sure what that. I'm sure JTT's in the chat. He probably knows. That's a Philly boy.
I think it was around 25. The season he had in the championship is not going to get them anywhere close to 25. So the selling high is still taking a loss.
I think he sells for around $12 to $13 million.
He is
if Gio's worth 10, not playing, but on
at 14 million euros, but that's a market value guesstimation, but that's right around what you're talking about. So if they are,
but the thing about Brenden Aaronson, I only see him working in a couple of countries in Europe. I don't see him as an Italian league player. I don't see him as a Spanish league player. I think he is a English championship, low level Premier, Bundesliga, or potentially in the Netherlands. Like, I don't really see him, maybe France as well, but I just don't see Serie A or La Liga right for this player. I could be wrong. Every team wants a hustler, though, right?
I don't think he's a Spanish player, a league player. I don't think he's that. It's Italy a little bit. Look, if you have somebody who wants to press, I mean,
and you can Italian football likes to press sometimes.
They like to press. I mean, he's not going to end up at Napoli, but if somebody wants to play like Antonio Conte plays, to lower down the table, then maybe Brenden Aaronson is an option for you. But part of this is who has the money to drop on a questionable asset. I mean, again, what is his value? What do you think you're getting out of him? He is 24. He won't be 25 until October, so he's still kind of young. I mean, it's just a thing. I mean,
is that younger
see,
than that feels younger than I thought he was, to be honest with you. He's been over there doing it for a few years. I forgot he went over so early.
He has. All right, we're not here just to debate whether Brenden Aaronson is a Premier League player. We're here to talk about the state of debate around the U.S. men's national team. And this comes down to what did we say after the Nations League failure? Jared, what did everybody say? They didn't look like they cared.
I said, fuck this. I said, this team's shit. I said a lot of stuff. I don't know. What did you say?
Whoa, I don't have a bleep for you.
A bleep? It's a grown-ass man show.
Is it?
Yeah.
I know that there are virgin ears in here, probably.
Listen, maybe. I don't know a human being that didn't cuss after that. If you didn't, you're a better man than me or woman than me.
Again, lots of allegations that this team doesn't have any heart, right? This team doesn't play, or this group of players, this generation. Not just
after this. It's been there for a while.
It has, but I think it took on a fever pitch because of what happened in the Nations League. Now, I think you could choose to kind of apply it to the generation in the group and say, this is about them. This is about that group of players who don't have the drive to achieve with the U.S. men's national team because they're so comfortable with their club teams, right? That's one line of thinking.
Yeah, but that's every player in the world, even outside the U.S.
Yeah, well, but there's no pressure at home to perform because the media in America doesn't really give a shit about the U.S. men's national team most of the time, right? That's one part of this. Another part of this, and I think certainly some people came to the conclusion that maybe Mauricio Pochettino doesn't know what he's doing with this group. Is he a fine tactical coach? Absolutely. Has he achieved some things in the club game? Sure. Is he made for international football? That's a different question. And what we've got here tonight is an opportunity to hear from the dean of American soccer coaches. Now his reputation's a little soiled these days because of what happened in New England, that nobody actually knows what really happened in New England. And of course he was there when the United States failed to qualify for the World Cup in 2018, but Bruce Arena still carries a lot of weight. People have a lot of respect for Bruce Arena, and Bruce went on the Unfiltered Soccer Podcast,
the Landon Donovan Tim Howard show.
How unfiltered are they? Are they really unfiltered? Or are they just
listen, don't talk shit and then we're going to use their content. That's not
right.
No,
I'm just asking you. I'm look, I'm going to use their content. They got Bruce Arena.
You know me, I don't listen to other soccer shows because I don't want things to bleed in my head and copy what people say. And so I don't know much about it. I saw an Instagram story with Bruce Arena on it, and I watched that 30 seconds. So I know maybe a little bit of this, but that's my only reference for it.
All right. I got a clip here. This is again from the Unfiltered Soccer Podcast. Tim Howard, Landon Donovan talking to Bruce Arena, I think yesterday or the day before.
If you look at every national team in the world, the coach is usually a domestic coach.
Yeah.
When you have coaches that don't know our culture, our environment, our players, it's hard. I mean, I'm watching, I'm shocked that we can't beat Panama and Canada. Time is running out and they got to get going.
All right, so that is actually from the intro here. I'm going to see if I can get an edited version of that because I think I have a better version. But what did you make of what he said right there?
I don't think he's wrong. And I think when Pochettino was first announced, I know I said this when we were talking. I fully expected him to grab someone like a Ante Razov or someone like that, someone that's an assistant coach with some pedigree that could come in and be the liaison to the American player. They haven't really brought in anyone that's not in that Poch circle that I'm aware of on the coaching staff. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but I really kind of expected them to bring someone in and be that person to these players. And I think there might be some, at least Bruce Arena would know better than us what works and what doesn't. But I am a little bit surprised that there wasn't someone in there to serve as that go-between. They kind of help the landing be a little softer.
All right, that was with the music and the sting and the intro. I think I've got a better version of what Bruce said on Unfiltered.
Every national team in the world, the coach is usually a domestic coach.
Yeah.
And I think when you have coaches that don't know our culture, our environment, our players, it's hard. And listen, I'm sure our coach is a very good coach. Coaching international football is different than club football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a completely different job. People ask me all the time, hey, what did you like?
Let me stop there because he did say something about, we have unique players and you got to be American. And this got written up after I saw this, after I talked about it, after I wrote about it on my newsletter. Pablo Maurer wrote it up for The Athletic. And I'm guessing that Pablo was given this assignment and then an editor applied some things, right? That's usually how it works, right? He's not doing the headline, for example, and he's not doing the pull-out quote or whatever it is when they post to social media. But he did write in his lead that Bruce Arena has criticized the appointment of current chief Mauricio Pochettino, saying that the job should have gone to an American. Is that what he said?
That's what I heard. Unless there's a different bit of content that he's using to make that assertion. If it's based solely off this, no, that is not what I heard. Well, he just said that what mainly happens in most countries around the world, not necessarily that Poch is the wrong guy.
Maybe I'm missing something. Let's continue.
Like this or that, what you like better? I go, they're two different jobs. They're two different jobs, and people don't understand that. Yeah. And I think when you're a national team coach, you need to know your environment. You need to know the animals you're coaching. Yeah. And we're lacking that. And if you're an American coach in the U.S. team, you know the culture, you know the pride, and how important the national team is. I think when you bring in somebody from the outside, they don't understand it, and especially in our country, because we're so different. So, you ask me, do we lack that kind of pride? I mean, I'm watching. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that we can't beat Panama and Canada. It was shocking to me.
Let me
I don't want to be
so. I don't think he can have it both ways. I don't know that he's trying to, but okay, Pochettino doesn't understand what it is to be that American competitive spirit. Cool. I get that. Well, but you know who does?
Yeah.
Every American player that grew up being American and watching American sports and knows what it's like to be an athlete for the United States of America. They know. So you can't say that Poch not knowing, it's not in the players either. It's not like it's one thing, like Poch is infectious on them. They didn't have it when Berhalter was here.
It sounds to me, and this is what I wrote today on my newsletter, it sounds to me like Bruce is trying to move the responsibility away from the players and put it on the coach. What he's saying is Pochettino doesn't understand the American player, and that's why the pride was missing. That's why the attitude was
But I don't see that being a silver bullet for this, because there were times where I know you and I would be on here and we would talk about, like, are we just old men? Does every old man just think that their age was the golden age or something like that? Yes. We've had that conversation. Yes. And that's, I mean, let me get started talking to my kids about 90s NBA. Like, someone needs to hit the guy once in a while on the lane. But we romanticized the fight. And I'm sure Lena David and Tim Howard are probably guilty of this as well. There's a bias of when I played, you knew what was in their heart. They knew what was in their heart. But there's also the eye test, right? And I just feel like the teams from the 2000s who were less talented to the teens who were closer in talent, but still less, they passed the eye test. Jermaine Jones, a guy that was born in another country, but American in his heart, passed the eye test. Michael Bradley passed the eye test. Clint Dempsey passed the eye test. When you watch this team right now, there's only two players, one really, maybe two, that passed the eye test. And everyone knows the first one, Tyler Adams. And that's the one that he always gets a pass, because you see in the way he plays that he cares and he has to fight. I think Anthony Robinson has it as well. He wasn't in this tournament, though. He got a knock, couldn't play in the tournament.
Right.
I think things look a little bit different if he's on the field.
This is why this whole thing is so weird to me, because what are you going to do? Give these guys some sort of test? Are you going to hook them up to a lie detector? Do you really care about the U.S. men's national team? Are you really here to play for the red, white, and blue? Oh, you didn't pass. You're out. You're not on the team. How do you determine this? Like, how is this a thing that you can test for? Except throw them on the field and see how they do. And if they don't show up, okay, maybe the next time you don't call them up. Maybe you say, well, that guy didn't show up the way I wanted him to, and I'm not calling him in.
I think you can review the film for it. Hey, let's watch this 15 minutes of footage we put together from the last game. And I don't want you to watch the ball. Listen to me. I don't want you to watch the ball. I want you to watch the team's body language. I want you to watch your body language on the field, because that's what we're truly talking about when we talk about this, right? We're talking about body language.
Yeah, right. I guess.
And players may be, you don't know how you look to the world, right?
Sure.
Maybe there is something that can be done right here. Now, I get it. Maybe you ask that question, just ask a facetious question that you don't want an answer to, but I'm trying to give you an actual answer to it. What could be done? I think these guys need to watch their own cringy shit and see how they look and their body language. Gio Reyna needs this. There's players out there that need this to see, hey, okay, why did you sag your shoulders when you lost that ball?
to do this collectively, to like apply this, to throw a blanket over everybody and say they don't have the right attitude. And then again, you could say they're spoiled, right? And I know so shout out to JTT Jonathan Tannenwald, who after I wrote my piece today on my newsletter,
OMFPG-13, it's JTT!
he reached out to point out a quote from Weston McKennie around the Gold Cup failure, or the Nations League failure, about the Gold Cup, because he's not going to be there for the Gold Cup. He's going to be with Juventus because Club World Cup matters to FIFA. So he's not being released by Juventus for the Gold Cup. And he said something like, you know, we've got familiarity. We can come back and we can pick up where we left off when we come back into the team. Now, one way to read that is Weston McKennie feels part of this team. He hates missing out on this tournament for the Gold Cup, but he's confident that he'll be able to get back into the group and be part of it. The other way to read it is he presumes he has a place no matter what.
There's players that in most of these teams that feel that way. Most countries,
but is that a problem? Because like JTT was suggesting that might be a problem, that the attitude is bad from Weston McKennie to be like, yeah, I'm just part of this team and I can walk back in whenever because I'm Weston McKennie.
Man, I can see why it could be a bad thing, but I mean, no one was ever thought that Frank Lampard shouldn't think he had a spot in the England team, right? Like, despite the fact that they underperformed regularly, you know.
But again, all of this is a function of not winning. The body language. So did the body language lose the United States those games in the Nations League?
No, but it lost me as a viewer.
No, sure, but that's because they lost the games. If they win the games and the body language is bad, nobody gives a shit about the body language.
I think I care, but I can convince myself it's not important because the results are there.
Yeah, and if you're just that kind of person, you may be picking apart.
Like my wife, I'm a good lover because my wife got hers. It doesn't mean it's actually equal.
This is okay. This is also, again, we look at the past, and I know that Tim Howard and Landon Donovan are doing it. We look at the past with rose-colored glasses. And Tim went on his little rants about how, the pride of the national team and blah, 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 blah. And I never took it for granted. And I thought, actually, he said, I went to Manchester United and I thought I was Billy Big Boots and I was just going to walk back into the national team picture. And no, Bruce, you taught me a lesson or whatever it was, right? Mm-hmm. And old guys love to do this because it makes them look better by comparison. When they can say, they can lord it over the current group. You're not achieving. Look at us. We had Did the U.S. men's national team, what trophies did they win? Was there a Nations League win? No, right? They had
a Nations League back then.
They had a couple of decent performances at the World Cup.
Yeah,
but no better than the group that is there right now had in 2022, right?
Confederations Cup set final. It's not a trophy though, but
not a trophy. An achievement. A nice performance. Beat Spain. Good performance.
That achievement is higher than anything this team has done.
That's a fair statement. The Confederation Cup also doesn't exist. And this team doesn't get a chance to test itself against higher level opponents because of the way UEFA has butchered the calendar. And now, and maybe that is not an excuse for them, right? You can't say, well, they don't get to play Spain and the Dutch and the Germans, and therefore.
So Panama keeps beating us because we have to keep playing them?
No, and again, this is the issue. Is there a drop-off? Sure, 100%. Is it down to attitude and mentality? Maybe it is, but anybody saying they know for sure, or Bruce Arena saying Mauricio Pochettino can't possibly coach these guys up because he's not American. What? Like, what are we talking about? And again, people like to say, no foreign coach has ever won a World Cup. Okay, 6 teams have won a World Cup. Every one of them is a football-playing nation through and through. Yeah. And we have a big gap between where we are now and winning a World Cup. And if we need a foreign manager to fill in some of that gap, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to get wrapped up in this nonsense, right?
Yeah, so, I'm fine with that as well.
After Bruce Arena, there was a little bit more to that. Do you want to hear any more? Or
if it's pertinent, we can see.
Let me see if I can get it back on the screen. Let me see what Bruce
I want them to do great in the World Cup. There's no question about it. But we only have a year left now.
Yeah.
The time is running out, and they got to get going.
All right, there it is again. Scold Bruce Arena talking to Tim Howard and Landon Donovan.
I think Bruce Arena has earned the right to have that conversation right there because he's walked those shoes. He's been the coach that's American coach. I think he's famous for getting getting the most out of out of a World Cup cycle, at least once in his career. He's the winningest coach in MLS. I think he gets to have that opinion. It's his to have, and I don't begrudge him that for a second, because I don't know what it's like in that tunnel and in that locker room, and the weeks between the fixture dates when you're getting stuff together and you're talking to the guys. I don't know. All I know is that Bruce Arena has a tendency to get the best out of the players that he has, both at club and country. He's not perfect. He has his failings as well. But in terms of what he's talking about, the fight, there's only one time I can ever think that a Bruce Arena team didn't have that fight at the national team level, and that's the Trinidad and Tobago game where they had to be carried across puddles.
Well, okay, but that's a major black mark on his.
Sure, but I think it's possible that when you're Bruce Arena and you've done that much, he may have had a blind spot, maybe got a little bit comfortable as well at that point.
But then he shouldn't be throwing stones. I mean, look again. The thing
only
is,
a perfect coach can have a criticism.
No, but to be so firm in your belief that an American coach is necessary for this team to reach its potential or whatever it is.
But you've got 3 national team legends right there on that screen, and they're all nodding their head and saying yes, the same thing.
Yeah, of course, because they're not in it now, right? And because they only know their experience. And because Landon Donovan get dropped by Jurgen Klinsmann, the last foreign manager that we had.
What does that have to do with it?
I'm just saying that these guys, Bruce Arena's idea that it has to be an American coach is not evidentiary based. Like, it's not backed by anything except for we don't have a lot of international managers in our history. And those that we do have, one basically started the modern program. I mean, he was the second guy. I want to leave out some people from the 80s and early 90s. But Bora took us to the World Cup in 94 when we were barely anything, right? There was nothing really there to work with. And he got some good performances out of that team. And they made the knockout round of a tournament as a third-place team, thanks to an own goal. We all know the history. And maybe they could have played better against Brazil. I just had a Winalda tell me that he thought Bora played scared against Brazil because he didn't care, because he'd already gotten the United States to where they were expected to be, or even higher than they were expected to be.
When I think back to that game, it's the Leonardo elbow to Tab Ramos.
Of course. And I mentioned that to Waldo, of course. Like, hey, Tab Ramos got elbowed in the head. That changed the complexion of that game. Obviously, we had Steve Sampson in 98, who was a disaster as an American coach. Now, again, it's maybe, and Bruce can get away with saying, well, it's not any American coach. It's the right American coach. But we don't know if
it's the right foreign coach.
Exactly. We don't know if the right foreign coach. And so is there something specific about the American identity that's innate to every American player? Because the way Bruce talks, it's like they're all the same. All the American players are the same. And most of this, not most of the team, but a lot of this team are not American developed, right? Jedi Robinson is not American developed. Sergio Dest is not American developed. Yunus Musa is not American developed. I could go on and on. Is he applying this same logic to those players, or is it only to the McKennies and the Adamses and the Pulisics that he's talking about? And even those guys, McKennie and Pulisic, both spent plenty of time overseas as kids. So where is this thing about, like, what is this innate American thing that we're identifying? How do we even pin that down? And why wouldn't an Argentinian coach who played for his country and understands the passion of doing that, why wouldn't he be able to translate that to the U.S. men's national team? It's just because he's not a citizen. He didn't grow up here. He can't possibly understand us. We're so exceptional. Is that it?
Well, here's the problem. Mauricio Pochettino was hired to disrupt the status quo with the U.S. Soccer Federation and men's team, correct? Like, what has been done is not going to work. We want to do something there. We don't want the good old boys club anymore. But then we get mad when the Leagues Cup comes out and he puts out a lineup that none of us really had. Like, what percentage were you wrong when the starting lineup came out for the Panama game? 50%?
Yeah.
Like 40%? Yeah. When's the last time you were 50% wrong on a top level class, the main men's team pool in a starting 11? Maybe you get 9 right. I mean, but at the same time, so he's doing what we actually have asked him to do. Do what you want to do. See it the way you see it. But then we get this discomfort. And we don't like the discomfort. We don't like when things change, but we want them to change. So we want them to change on our terms. At the end of the day, he didn't get the result, though. And that is something that is binary.
Right. Well, okay. And if Bruce Arena came on, if he went on that show and he said, I just don't think Mauricio Pochettino is the right coach for this team, maybe his mentality or his system, like you want to talk about system, or his personnel choices, or his approach to Panama, his approach to Canada. If you wanted to pick that apart, I'd be here for it. I'd listen to Bruce. I might not agree with him on every point, but I would say, okay, Bruce Arena, he's an accomplished coach. He's coached this team. He says this was the wrong approach against Panama. I will listen to that. But if you come on and say, oh, you need an American to understand Americans, there's nothing provable. There's nothing I can look at and say, well, I absolutely 100%. I can see what he's talking about. There's nothing he can point to. It is so easy to say these words.
But it appeals to something in you, though, right? When he says it, it holds the truth in your heart somewhere. I'm saying.
This is emotional. This is not Fair. Intellectual. This is emotional. And that's where it falls apart for me. Because again, it's so easy to just throw this stuff out. And I'm not even going to throw out the they're all bitter card. Although I do think you can read this as Bruce is bigging himself up. Right? He's saying, I got the players. Look at what I did. Again, he missed the World Cup.
He did not say it. You're putting that in his mouth. Let's be fair. We got to call it both ways.
But by painting this picture, he is making the point that he was a coach who got this team, right?
Okay, let's say that he didn't call a press conference to say, I have some thoughts on Pochettino. He went on a podcast, was asked a question, and then replied. Come on, that's a little bit. All he's doing is answering the question he was asked.
All right.
And now, if anything, what we love about Bruce Arena is that he answers like that. So we love that about Bruce Arena. I suppose.
I would have respected. Look, and again, I don't know Tim Howard at all. I know Landon Donovan a little bit. I'm not going to say I'm friends with Landon. Okay, so it's not like that. But I would have respected those guys a lot more if they at least challenged Bruce on this a little bit instead of just nodding along. And maybe that because they're not journalists, that's not their job. But I would question the value of this interview to begin with if we're not saying, well, wait a second, Bruce. Maybe you're wrong about this, or have you considered this thing, or do you really think it's about an American, or is it about something else?
All right, but at the same time, if we had a guest on here to talk about British voices in an American podcast, you're going to be nodding your head when you hear that guy saying this stuff. Sometimes you just agree with what's being said.
Oh, hold on. You should know me better than that. There are plenty of times on this show and in my career where even if I agree with something, I'm going to ask questions to try to tease out the thinking because I want to make sure that I'm in the right place on it. I understand. Part of my struggle with that very thing you brought up is that I know it's an emotional response on my part. And I don't like making people feel bad that they like British announcers or making people feel bad that they think the Men in Blazers are good. I don't think they're good. I think they're trash. But I know
I'm Man in Blazer these days.
It might be Man in Blazer. It's like one. They have to change their name legally. Like
dude in jacket,
bloke in blazer. I don't know what it is. At this point, I know there's some people in this room who in this chat right now who like those guys. Not trying to tear them down, just bringing it up because it's part of the conversation. All right. So after Bruce Arena did this conversation with Howard and Donovan, U.S. Soccer, and I don't think it was related necessarily, but the timing of it was interesting because I listened to Bruce talk about this mentality and the pride, and they couldn't beat Panama and Canada and American coaches and whatever. And then U.S. Soccer on their YouTube channel drops an interview with Mauricio Pochettino. Now, when I say an interview, what if I said, Jared, they put an interview with Mauricio Pochettino up on their YouTube channel, what would you presume that interview, like what kind of things about it would you think? What would you presume it was?
Like the content of it, you mean? Like what questions and stuff?
Like give me an idea of what you would expect to see when you click the link.
And the title had like Gold Cup in it, right? Like that was the tease.
Sit down interview with Mauricio Pochettino on CONCACAF Gold Cup and more.
I would expect the talking point to be what is the teams that are that we got drafted in the group with. That would be because it was right after that. I expect there to be some talk about what teams are being featured. I think the talk would be like, what changes do you think you need to make going into this this tournament that you didn't make last time?
Okay.
And how are you valuing giving certain guys breaks versus running them another tournament in the summer?
Okay. How long would you think an interview like that might be? Give me a sense of like what you would expect going into it.
6 minutes.
6 minutes? Really?
Sure.
That's short. Okay. I thought maybe we would expect a sit down interview. I do this for a living. I think at least 15 minutes for a sit down.
But it's on the US Soccer site, right?
It is on US.
So it's not hosted. If it was like a hosted like show with someone, I mean, it's just content for US Soccer.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, then maybe you had different expectations than me going in. I was surprised by the brevity of this 4-minute and 47-second interview that was done with Mauricio Pochettino. And I have done a little bit of editing. So
a lot of big things can be done in a couple of minutes.
Okay. Well, he talked about the Gold Cup is difficult. He didn't address any of the opponents. He did not once mention an opponent in the group stage for the U.S. men's national team. And he gave some general thoughts about the Gold Cup, but it was a lot of stuff like this.
A competitive
Hold on, let me do it.
in the players against opponents that might be perceived as underdogs.
The mindset must be there because the right mindset, no? Because I think we need to compete for our flag, our country, and it's not enough sometimes to come and to play. What we want to add to this group, the player, and to the team is the possibility to optimize every single area. But this area is really important because I think provide you the possibility to be in your peak and perform in your best. If not, only is talent that is sometimes useful, because if you don't have the right mindset to approach the game, that is why we are going to work, and also we need to be intelligent in the way that we are going to select the characters. No select only talent and names, if not to have a good balance, to provide the team the right characters to be really competitive.
So I think that's both a nothing burger, but then the last 10 seconds, I think there's something of value there.
I see it as a direct response to this idea that there's a lack of pride and fight for the national team. To me, he may have said some things like that after the failure at the Nations League, and it maybe got lost in the post game, upset about everything. But they are taking pains to sit him down in front of whatever that backdrop is, wherever he is. I'm assuming he's on the road. I don't know whose voice
Argentinian cafe.
Is that green screen, or is he somewhere like what is this? Is this a brewery / cafe
in the world?
Yeah, he's got two ferns. I will point that out.
Nice.
Two ferns.
Is Galifianakis the guy off camera?
Maybe they've got him in this. It's like a corner, except there's some painting on the wall. Whether this is a backdrop.
JTT, the voice in the background is Jeff Crandall.
Okay, all right. Well, then it's Jeff Crandall. Jeff Crandall, U.S. Soccer employee, technically still, or I'm not sure. Jeff Crandall, U.S. Soccer employee, longtime U.S. Soccer employee. I know Jeff. Jeff was the guy that was really pushing the U.S. Open Cup from the U.S. Soccer perspective for a while. Like he was the guy that was doing their public facing stuff on the Open Cup. But Jeff Crandall's been around for a while. That makes sense. Thank you, JTT. That thing is coming out of his head. Like there's a thing coming out of his head. Like if you're framing this,
it's a thought bubble.
Is it thought bubble? It looks like he's in a goof troop or something. Like I don't know what's going. Is it a note? Is it a
snork?
Note?
Is he a snork?
He could be a snork. People remember the snorks.
I don't know. I got the snorks, but
you and I remember the snorks. He's wearing what has got to be the most basic U.S. Soccer T-shirt that you could possibly get your hands on.
But at the end of his comments, what it sounds like at the end is just like, I get the feeling that he wants to shake it up, though. I get the feeling at the end like no player may be safe here.
I believe that he is being earnest and honest. I don't doubt that, right? I don't doubt that he's speaking his truth. But again, it's sort of the framing of this from a U.S. soccer perspective, sitting him down wherever this is and putting him in the T-shirt and having Jeff Crandall sort of prompt him with off-camera questions, right? Is this a normal thing for U.S. soccer to do? Because
do an interview?
In this way, in this setup, with this look.
They're disrupting the interview space as well, Jason. For all we know, that maybe they had an Airbnb at Coachella. My man was taking it in.
Maybe. All right, there's more to this. Let's listen.
Will you consider when picking the roster?
At the moment so far, we wanted to know as much the player as possible, players that were playing in abroad of MLS, and then MLS player. And I think after nearly 1 year.
But by the way, did he just say? So he's saying they prioritized players who were playing abroad, and then came around to the MLS players in terms of evaluation. He did say that, right? Or am
yeah, but I
misinterpreting
think that's
that?
natural based on the way the structure of this last calendar, like 6 months, has been. You know, you
Yeah,
had
okay.
Nations League
Yeah.
semifinal. You're going to call on what the other coach was already doing. He had a camp cupcake, you know, to see the MLS players, and MLS players. I don't know. I will say that I was surprised by some of the domestic choices that were made in the Nations League level that got time. You know, I think a lot of people were surprised by that. But what you can say is that obviously the MLS player has impressed Pochettino somehow. I mean, there's something about the MLS. Maybe it is the fight. Maybe there is something that these guys are still fighting for their dinner money. You know, like.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something there. What I will say though is when US Soccer conducts this interview, on the first part that we put in there, at one point he talked about we need to use intelligence in terms of who we call up. What I would like to see from an actual journalist having this interview is, can you give me an example of what intelligence you're talking about? Like,
Sure.
what's an example of an intelligent decision that could have been made that wasn't made? See, they get to say these things. Pochettino gets to say these things
without defining them.
and it's a word salad. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like, well, what's the context to that? Like, what do you mean when you say that? It sounds nice, but do you know what you mean when you say that?
Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
I think we have good knowledge about every single player that maybe we need to discover and to also to see. But I think we have a better now picture about our players.
What will success
shit.
in the Gold Cup mean to you and this group of players?
It's to compete well. It's to match the opponent, because the opponent always, when play against USA, have the motivation, you know, and to give their best. And we need to feel the same. We need to match. We need to match all this in this area. But always it's about to win. Even when you lose, I think you can lose, but I think showing that you are competitive and you deserve maybe to win, and sometimes for many factors you cannot win. But I think it's important for us to start to be serious in the way that we will take the competition. It's not only to come here for us or for the player and to say, okay, we are going to spend less time in my country, or I'm going to enjoy playing. No, it's about to fight for your proud, for the people that would love to be in your position, for million of kids that they are going to see us and dream to be one day there. Is this type of responsibility and commitment we need to show in different way that what we did in the last time in Los Angeles.
I like that he could even say with a straight face millions of kids when
No,
you
I
could
think-
even get 10,000 in the stadium.
Well, that's the thing. But I do think that there are millions of kids who could be inspired by this. I don't hate him, man. I don't hate him for that. I think the man means what he says. I have no issue with what he's saying. I really don't. I do think, again, the to me more interesting is sort of the machinations of US Soccer putting this out, asking him questions that are going to lead him in that direction. Obviously, look, it's also his second language, or third or fourth. I don't know. It's not his first language. There's probably some things being lost a bit in terms of his expression in English. So I got no issue with that. I hope everything he said come true. I hope what he said about
At the end of the day, all we've learned is that American citrus just isn't powerful enough for what he needs.
there was
to do.
not a lemon to be found in that video. Not a lemon.
I think he thought that because he hears all the Florida and the California talk that the citrus would have power here, and it just doesn't have it. He needs that European citrus. Wait, do they even have citrus over there? But now it had Lyme disease. They didn't. But isn't that why sailors had Lyme disease? They didn't have access to a vitamin C and citrus.
No, they just didn't take it with them because they didn't know that it caused the problem to not have vitamin C. That's the issue. And in fact, I can't remember what mechanism for delivering vitamin C.
Are we allowed to call English people limeys yet? Is that back, or is that still a bad thing?
I don't know. Was that really off the table? Was that off the table?
Well, I
Limeys?
don't know. I just assumed. I don't know.
You meant, what did you say? Lyme disease? Scurvy is definitely.
Did I say Lyme disease? I meant scurvy. I did. I don't know why I said that. I meant scurvy.
Oh, that's so funny. Everybody in the chat's like, what did you do? What did you just say?
He got bit by a tick that ate an orange.
Yeah, look, there is certainly a potential reality, as has been expressed in the chat, as many people have said, that this group of players just isn't that talented. Like, it doesn't, whatever their club affiliation, whatever their accomplishments on the club level, particularly in Europe, if you put them all together, they're just not as good as.
Yeah,
I
don't think that means they're not talented. I just think it means that they just don't have the chemistry.
It could be that. It could be that. And obviously that's partly on the coach to figure out the chemistry of it all. Right. Yeah. It's partly on. And here's the thing, like, maybe Berhalter did some good things and maybe the chemistry was fairly strong when he was in charge. And I mean, like, personal chemistry. I'm not talking about necessarily on the field every time, but he certainly made choices that had us going like, what? Like, you're starting Jesus Ferreira in the World Cup? Like, what are you doing? Why are we doing this? What's going on here? You're just throwing stuff against the wall because you don't have an idea. Well, that's pretty terrible, right? And obviously the Copa America experience was a disaster. And if you have good chemistry and good discipline, Tim Weah doesn't do what Tim Weah does. And maybe that whole thing turns out differently, although there was obviously a lot more in that tournament that went poorly. Maybe Pochettino knows how to coach up a team if he sees them 4 times a week going into a match day. Maybe he knows how to get the best out of young players.
Or like you said, maybe the talent just isn't good enough.
Could be that too.
But that's sad. If our talent isn't good enough for Panama, we're not talking like we lost to Holland, France, Germany, Brazil. This is Panama.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough.
How many shots did they have in that game, Panama?
I don't recall, but it was less than the amount of players they had behind the ball. I know that.
Way less than the number of players they have behind the ball. And again, this comes back to that thing of, if we're going to be the team that has possession, if we're going to be the team that sets the tempo because the other team is just not going to come out and play, which is a perfectly justifiable tactic in this sport, you got to find ways. And you can't play Yunus Musa on the wing. You just can't do it. I mean,
yeah, that's not good. I mean, he didn't even play him in the leagues, the Nations Leagues game,
so
right?
We haven't done this in a while. But I think it's time
Go to Defcon 2
for a Defcon check from our besties. I mean, it's literally been a long time since we did a Defcon. Can't believe we didn't do one coming out of the Nations League failure. But Jared, right now, and again, we're in the middle of like a dead zone. We don't have national team games coming for a little while. We got a couple of friendlies out of the Gold Cup. We'll get a look at them then. We know McKennie and Weah won't be available. I don't know about Gio. He'll probably still be a Dortmund player at that point, so he probably won't be available either. That's going to change things for Pochettino. What's your DEFCON going into Gold Cup?
I'm going to put it at a 2, and that's sensational a bit because I think it's actually a 3. But I'm giving it a 2 because of the proximity and the lack of time we have before the World Cup is exacerbating it and elevating it an extra level for me.
Yeah, Bruce said it.
DEFCON 2.
Bruce said the World Cup, 441 days. Am I right? Or did I have my numbers transposed?
Sure.
400 something days before the World Cup comes to these American shores. Who else is coming to these American shores? I don't know, but definitely the World Cup.
We could win it because some of these teams may not be able to get their players in. So,
that is the worst thing that you have ever said on this show.
What?
I mean, it might be true, but it's so depressing and distressing and sad, and it makes me angry. So you're not saying
3.
You're not saying 3?
I think it is 3, but like I said, I'm going to sensationalize it a little bit because of there's not enough time to figure it out.
Is Thomas Dupree really?
No. He was answering you. How many shots did they have?
I was like, wait, that's a DEFCON 1.
At Defcon 1. Defcon 1.
I like the guy on the mic and like as soon as he says we are at DEFCON 1, like that guy jumps in like DEFCON 1. That's so good.
And the buzzer, like someone just scored a goal in hockey.
I need to watch that movie. Yeah, Whopper. Peter Falcon.
The Bopper, you mean?
No, it's Whopper. Isn't it Whopper? Whomper with an M. Whomper.
I think it wasn't. Oh, I was thinking Bump Bailey from The Natural. I thought that's who you were talking about. But yeah, guy.
It's Whopper. WOPR. That is the computer The war operation.
Oh, I think you're talking
plan
about the
is
guy
wrong.
who's talking right there, the colonel or the general that's talking. I thought you're trying to say his name, whatever his name was.
Oh,
Like
you
the
want
character name,
the character name? Man, do you
or
remember
the actor,
character name?
or the actor.
Well,
I don't know.
he's clearly a general. So general what? What is his name? General what?
I don't know. I just thought that's whose name you were trying to say. Like his last name was Whopper or something like that. Or
That is it General Behringer? Is that who that is?
sure,
General.
he was in a lot of movies in the 80s.
Yeah. Who was McKittrick? Who was McKittrick? The
Who
guy
is
in charge of
McKittrick?
the computer, in charge of the software.
Oh, the guy they go and see.
At
He has the
NORAD.
pterodactyl remote
No.
control thing.
No, that's Peter. That's Peter Falcon. I think it's
Okay,
I think it's
Falcon.
Peter.
Yeah, keep going. Falcon.
No, who's McKittrick? Who's the bad guy? The guy who used to work with Falcon, who doesn't work with Falcon anymore, and is now in charge of the NORAD computer system.
It's isn't it the dad from Footloose? Or wait, no, it's not him. It's
No.
Hold on. I know this. I know
should
this.
know
I know this. He's
As a
in-
legend,
but he's balding, right? And
yeah,
God
80s
damn it.
80s stalwart in like so
I
many.
can't get
movies.
Jeffrey Tambor and the guy, the dad from Footloose, out of my head. But he's like that.
Do you want me to give you some like?
Give me another movie he's in.
I give you some other movies. IMDb is so stupid now. I can't even figure out what it's trying to like. It's in movies. Is it
I got a
TV
picture
shows?
of who that guy is.
All right, give me a second because I think it's giving me movie or giving TV shows. And man, he's been in so much stuff. This guy.
But
Let's
looking at him, you
see.
got to know something he's been in, right?
Oh, he was in the Beverly Hillbillies.
The movie?
Yes,
I never
he
watched
was
the
in
movie. I never watched that movie.
Let's see. He was in man. God, I'm just trying to find a good movie that You've Got Mail. He was in You Got Mail. He's in You've Got Mail. 1998.
I don't
He
know.
was
You
in
have to tell me.
He was in Inspector Gadget, the movie as well, with Matthew Broderick. He was back with Matthew
I wonder if
Broderick.
maybe you should pull the image up on the screen, then I can know if I can do it. But
He was in Stuart Little.
all these movies I didn't watch, dude.
You
I didn't
didn't
watch
watch
Inspector
Stuart Little?
Gadget or Stuart Little. No.
Okay, he was in 9 to 5. That's the one. 9 to 5 is the
Dabney
one.
Coleman.
Hey, there you go.
God dang it! I should have had that. Should have been so much easier than it actually was.
That's pretty good.
How you not gonna say Down Beverly Hills?
I don't know if I've seen
Was
that.
it Down Beverly Hills? He was in that, right?
Was that the one with the Girl Scout troop or something? Isn't that that movie?
That's Troop Beverly Hills.
Troop Beverly Hills. I get my Beverly Hills movies mixed up. I don't know. I'm an East Coast guy. What do I know about
Dabney
Beverly
Coleman,
Hills
yeah,
movies?
dude. Yeah, definitely 9 to 5.
Beverly Hills Cop. I know that one. Dabney Coleman. Yeah. War Games. So we got a bunch of threes, I think, is what I
Okay.
see here. And I guess that's
You
about
want to have some
right.
fun at the end?
Sure. I was going to talk about Yunus Musa, but that's okay.
That's not
we
fun.
don't have to. It's not fun. Yunus Musa is struggling at AC Milan. That's what we'll say to that. Thank
I
you.
don't know that he's struggling. He's just not getting minutes anymore, but like,
Well, go read Jeff Ruder's piece at The Athletic for why he believes this is turning into a bad situation for Mr. Musa. But I wish good things for him. He's such a likable dude. But maybe it's not there. I don't know. Maybe you need to be more cutthroat, more hard-edged. Go ahead.
I mean, it's just like with Santi Jimenez too. But Conceição is in a tough position where he has to try to save his job, despite the fact everyone's being rumored with AC Milan. He's got to go with players that he feels he can trust right now, not potential projects. And I think that's what Musa is. So Santi Jimenez is getting sitting on the bench, and Jovic is scoring 2 goals today. So when last week, I think is he still in the chat here? I'm not sure if Justin's still in the chat, but he brought up the Dungeons and Dragons thing last week, and we kind of talked about good soccer Dungeons and Dragons names.
Yeah, what was the best one that we came up with? Did we come up with any good ones?
Well, I don't remember. I didn't write them down or anything.
All right. I saw somebody in the Bestie Slack suggested Virgil van Dijk. Does that sound like a D&D name?
It sounds like a porn name.
You think so? Because the
Little bit,
Dyke
yeah.
part, that's very anti-Dutch of you, I think.
Virgil, the Virgin, kind of close. I don't know.
All right. Somebody said
Virgin Van Dyke.
Jan, is it Jan Vessingor of Helsinki? Remember that player? He was at like Hull
That's
for a
very
minute.
Game of Thrones-ish. I think that one kind of feels
Yeah.
like anytime there's of something,
Yeah.
either
right.
that or Handmaid's Tale.
I mean, there aren't many people walking around with the name of anything in 2025.
Just in another language.
Oh, that's true. That's what do
or
means.
van something in Dutch,
Yeah. You are Jared of the Bois?
of the woods. Yes.
Oh, is that what Bois
I'm
is?
forest folk.
Oh, so bois is woods in French? Okay.
Was
Because
wood, but of the
so
woods.
you have the same name as Vicente del Bosque? Is that what you're telling me?
I guess so. Like, or if a
Wow.
guy's name was Forrester or something like that. I don't know, something like
Because
that.
del Bosque means of the woods. So if Dubois
I thought
means of the
it
woods.
meant World Cup winner, but
All right. What do you got? Give me something.
all right. So what we were talking about it, and I'm not sure I think it came up in the Slack. And Jason, if they want to be part of the Slack, how do they do that?
Join up on the Patreon at patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. Not only do you get access to the incredible Besties community via the Slack, and people are throwing out investment tips, which is a wild thing to do right now. But yeah, Holden's in there throwing out investment tips right now.
Unless you're investing in the Chinese currency.
Holden knows the trick that is a good. Basically, it's like, what can you do that is actually smart right now? And Holden knows. So go over there, join the Slack, patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. So you get access to that. You also get what is kind of becoming the almost daily Davis. I forgot today. I did a different kind of post today, but I am posting on the regular over on the Patreon. So you get some extra bonus content. You get a back catalog of bonus shows. Maybe what I'm going to do is like bring those forward, some of the best ones we've ever done. And I also, this is odd, but I found myself on a run last week, and I don't know how, but I ended up on my own YouTube channel, the one that's under Jason Davis, which has like 300 subscribers and I don't even do anything with. But I posted Slop Cultures there way back in the day. And I listened to an entire Slop Culture. That show was fun. We had a good time on that show. It was
we did pretty well. Morgan wants you to post a Newlywed Game, which she hosted.
I can repost the Newlywed Game. I can certainly do that. Although I'd have to get clearance from Nicholas Soup and Sausage of Toledo, Ohio, to make sure that he's like on board.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
I don't know.
John, JTT was asking, what do you think Tannenwald means in German while you're at it? And I think I kind of know this because I think it's similar. Because in German, Tannenbaum is a Christmas tree, right?
That's right. Yes.
So I think it may be something in that regard. It may be like some kind of woods or thing as well. So JTT, you have to give us the answer in the chat.
You guys are all like linked by name similarity through different languages.
And looks, have you seen us? We look just alike.
I feel left out though. I feel like Davis is just like
we don't do the ginger stuff, dude. You can't come over here. No.
It's like Welsh for son of David or something.
It reminds us of fire, and us wood folk don't like the fire.
Like Daffod. I wish that my name was Daffod. At least I'd be different instead of David.
Vold means forest, he says.
Vold
Tannin means forest of fir trees.
Forest of fir trees. Wow. Yeah.
All right. So in the Slack, it came up, and I can't remember how it came up, or maybe you just suggested it. Star Wars soccer names.
Yeah, there's got to be some good ones out there. Do you think this is a lower degree of difficulty than the D&D thing?
Yeah. No, actually, I don't know if I do. I think because when I think D&D, I instantly go to like English names and stuff like that because there's so much like night culture and stuff like that.
It's a more specific sound because Star Wars names are like Lando Calrissian. Like it has to kind of have this sing-songy thing, but also like be unique, like very unique, right?
Yeah.
So the one I threw out that I think works, and obviously it's not American. Love to have some Americans involved. Is Kabi Menu. Like Kabi Menu sounds like an alien in the
droid.
Cantina. Yeah, or a droid. Sure, Kabi Menu is a droid, 100%.
So my first thing I was thinking is like, what country makes the best Star Wars names? And I was going back and forth, and I think I figured out what country has the best Star Wars names.
Okay,
and I think it's Belgium.
Belgium.
Okay, so stick with me. Think about it. Romelu Lukaku.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
What about Patrick Dorgu?
Okay, you're gonna hate me for this,
huh?
But does Romelu Lukaku sound more like a Star Trek name than a Star Wars name? Just because the Romulans and
I get where you were coming from there. I get you're coming there. The Lukaku is very like Star Warsy though, but the Romelu you're right is. What about Jeremy Doku?
Jeremy Doku is a perfect one. That is good. Now the Jeremy throws me off because that's a normal person.
But listen, Luke Skywalker, right?
Yes, right. Luke
Mace Windu. I don't know. Like, what about Daily Blend?
Daily Blend. Yeah, okay. I could see Daily Blend. That makes sense. I like Daily Blend.
Here's maybe the best one. Amadou Onana.
Amadou Onana is pretty good.
And that's all Belgium. That's just Belgium. I didn't even get
Belgium.
to like. Well, actually, De Blind was Netherlands. Sorry. What about Arjen Robben?
Actually, I just came up with the best. You're gonna hate me for this too. The best Star Wars name. The best American Star Wars name.
What's that?
Diego Luna.
Oh, okay. That's a little, that's tongue in cheek right there.
You saw they met, right? You saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure who made. Is that Coachella? It happened or something? How did Diego Luna get time off for Coachella?
I don't know.
You think he wrote that in his contract?
I mean, he's just got to be doing promotion now, and everybody's watching it. I haven't watched any of it. Don't spoil anything. Are you an Andor guy? You watched Andor the first season?
Nah.
No.
I was a huge Star Wars kid as a fan as a kid. Read the novels and stuff like that. Watched the tapes until they tore. But I've had a problem getting into the newer generation stuff. I don't know. I guess mainly because I just feel like it's a exercise in making money off my childhood.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
That part, and I know there's good stories being told. It just feels like it's being told for the wrong reasons. I don't know. I don't get me started.
Well,
but yeah,
I'm not pretentious and judgy and shit. After you came after me for my,
I came after all of it.
Patrick Agyemang. No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jan Vertonghen for Jason has put that in the chat.
Not another Belgian, right? Isn't Jan Vertonghen?
I think Belgian, Netherlands. I think the Dutch and the Belgians. I think they've got a lot of stuff in this range right here. I don't know. I feel like there's Yannick Carrasco. That's a Belgian name.
Yannick
De Winter.
Okay. All right.
And how about Wout Face?
I will say Wout's Face is and he's got the hair to fit in too.
Bakayoko is pretty good too.
I would say Bakayoko. I would say Falarin Balogun kind of has a Star Warsy.
Yeah, I think that definitely is there. Yeah, when I look down this Belgian list, I don't even know who these dudes are, but they got Star Warsy names, man. Oro Mangala.
Is there a Joe Max in the Star Wars? There should be a Joe Max.
There's no Joe Max.
There should be
Joe Max. Joe Max would be a droid though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be like some senator or something, and just be, or even like a Jedi or whatever. It can just be some droid. Joe Max is coming with a message for the princess or whatever. I think that could work. Why not? All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Wilfred Zaha.
That's all the ones I had, man.
All right. Well, that's going to do it, I guess, for this edition of the Best Soccer Show. Again, hit us up on the Patreon at patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. If we're going to do plugs, we can throw some other stuff out. The newsletter that I referenced several times is at Jason Davis Soccer Eagle. Just type that into your Google. You'll find it. It's a ghost.io site. I haven't bought a domain yet. I don't know how committed I am to that. You can read a couple posts on various American soccer topics as I feel inspired to write, which I haven't done sort of for myself in a very, very, very long time.
Since what was it? Wait, what was Match Fit USA? Was that what?
That was the original blog way back in 2008. I launched it when I think Morgan was.
You're more Match Fit today than you were back in the day.
Things have changed a little bit in terms of that. Yeah. And actually is it wrong for me to suggest that maybe our man Mauricio Pochettino should just get in the weight room just a tiny bit?
Come on, dude. Don't be that guy.
Just a little bit. I'm not saying he needs to be jacked. I'm not saying we need a brolic coach. I'm just saying like just a little bit. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, what else? Blue Sky. You can follow me. Not 2001. I said 2008. I didn't launch my blog in 2001.
I can do the math. She was 11.
Blue Sky Davis Jason dot whatever sky dot whatever it is over there. You can find me. Follow me on that. Morning kick around, which I'm doing 3 times a week.
Good Lord. You have to do hot wings to get this many plugs usually.
We have hey, it's my show. You want to give me wings? I'll eat the wings while we do this.
No, you just welch on it probably.
Morning kick, the hot wings. I wouldn't welch on the hot wings. Morning kick around on YouTube. Subscribe to that. Pumping out content, really good stuff. 3 times a week. Hour-long shows every one of those days. Lots of coverage of American soccer stuff and also interviews. We had Simon Evans on today to talk about RSL going for $600 million, although it's not just RSL, obviously. What does that mean? USL and ProRel and all that stuff getting major coverage over there. I'm going to be talking to Pablo Maurer about Loudoun United and how disastrous that situation is out here in the exurbs of DC with a USL championship team that's not getting any support from their ownership group, that's having to shower in one shower. Like they're the whole team having to take turns in one shower. Their surface is coming up at the seams, and it's not great. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. And they're in first place, by the way, in the early going of the season. Somehow they're in first place. It's very much a major league situation, but I don't know if they have the figure with the
there's a bikini kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I don't know if they have that kind of thing going on.
Willie Mays Hayes,
one of my favorite movies of all. I gotta revisit that movie.
Yeah, my kids. I watched Can't Hardly Wait with my kids last week.
Oh, that's pushing the envelope.
Why? What do you mean?
Feels like there's some stuff. There's some questionable stuff in there, right?
Every kid needs to learn about Special K.
Okay, roofies. Every kid's got to learn about roofies. Isn't that part of it? There's no roofies involved. I feel like maybe I'm thinking about
they chloroformed the bully at one point, but that was it.
Yeah. All right. You know what? I didn't tell you this. I thought it was a good idea to do movie night, including with the 4-year-old for The Princess Bride. And then,
what's wrong with that?
There's some stuff that's a little tough to explain. It's for a 4-year-old. Think about a 4-year-old who really has no concept.
You can't define true love in your house.
It's scary more than anything. It's not about sex and stuff. It's just scary.
Like they bring him back to life and like stuff like that, where they take the life from him.
He was like, why are they torturing that guy? I was like,
because they don't know true love.
And I was like, well, why is that guy bad? Why does he have 6 fingers? What's going on with the giant dude? Just lots of questions from Tiago.
Why is he rhyming?
What does he mean by inconceivable? What is he talking about there? All right, that's it. We're done. Thank you very much for watching and listening to this episode of the Best Soccer Show. And we'll see you. I don't know. I'm off next week. I'm in Napa. So I don't know when we're going to be back, but we'll be back soon. See you later. Bye, guys.
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Get to the chopper!
It was there. Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. Wet.
Take us to Defcon 3.
WNBC.
Oh, it's incredible!
Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
What are we doing?
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Zu viel respect for the Gegner. Zu viel respect for the Gegner.
Michael freaking Arasco Fistel.
Who asked those questions?
Jay Rodius.